Hi guys, welcome back to Waxing On. It's Classic Rock Wednesday. And as you can hear, no, my voice still hasn't come back, but we're working on it. Okay, today we're looking at one of the classic bands from the 70s. Certainly set a whole style of music. It was a forerunner for a lot of other artists and had a string of hits. I'm talking about the Eagles. Now, my first Eagle album, I didn't buy a lot of them originally when they came out. I opted for the greatest hits, and that's what I've often done. And it was Greatest Hits Volume 1. And to me, this was just an excellent album. It had all the songs you know by heart, everything that was getting airplay. It was so easy to sing along with the album. I mean, you knew all of these tunes. I had it on cassette. I have it now on CD. Unfortunately, I can't find either one of them right now, but they're down here somewhere. But I mean, some of the greatest tunes. I mean, you got things like Take It Easy, Lion Eyes, Take It to the Limit, Desperado, Peaceful Easy Feeling. I mean, all the classic hits were on this. That Greatest Hits album, there's nothing that isn't a great hit, that's for sure. But again, if you want to delve more into the Eagles, well, we've got some other selections for you too. Now, my wife actually had Eagles albums before I had any of their music, so she was listening to them long before I was. And her first album, or one of the earliest albums she had, was Eagles Hotel California. Now again, everybody knows the Hotel California, but there was a few other hits on this album as well. New Kid in Town, Life in the Fast Lane, Last Resort. So we got a couple of other ones that got airplay. Now you got to remember, we're just getting into the FM era. So a lot of this was still on AM radio, and that's where we were hearing our music. When we got into FM, they started getting away from the actual hits themselves and started playing other alternate songs off the album. At this point, Eagles were Don Henley, Glenn Frey, Don Fielder, Joe Walsh, and Randy Meisner. Again, a good place to start, very familiar tunes. Now, the next album I found in the collection that she had was the Eagles' Long Run. And this was probably the last album they had put out before a very long hiatus. Again, the personnel. You can see who we've got on here. I'll just go over the list. I see Joe Walsh still in there. And again, he'd be one of my favorites just because he was a little bit different than some of the rest of them, was doing some exciting stuff. Okay, Glenn Frey, Don Henley, Don Felder, Joe Walsh. Actually, they got Jimmy Buffett as a guest on here as well. I'm not sure whether we've already changed Randy Meisner and brought in B. Schmidt in there. I'll have to just take a look and see. But yes, anyways, Long Run. Couple of big hits in here. Obviously, the Long Run, I Can't Tell You Why, In the City, Disco Strangler, Heartache Tonight. Again, they were turning out a number of hits off every album. It wasn't just one or two. They had a lot of great music in there, and they developed a great style. Now, that was 1979. Let's fast forward ahead, 2007. Boy, that's a long stretch in between, right? 2007, we're looking, well, 1989, 2007. That's like 28 years. 28 years between albums, and out comes a 2 CD set, Eagles, Long Road Out of Eden. Now, here's the beauty of this one. At this point, I'm not getting a lot of airplay on the Eagles. By 2007, I'm not even listening to the FM radio much because it's changed a lot as well. So the stations I used to listen to get a lot of exposure to this music, it just wasn't there. Just to give you some idea what we've got on here, like I say, a 2 CD set they cranked out, and I think there was some talk that it took quite a while to put this one together. They had really not recorded much since that time. Musicians, we got Glenn Frey, Don Henley, Joe Walsh, and Timothy B. Schmidt. So a lot of the players that were playing on that last Long Run album came back 28 years later to crank out Long Road Out of Eden. Now, listening to it, there's that classic Eagles sound. There's some of those tunes sound so familiar. The harmonies are so familiar. The way it's written. They had a number of hits off here as well that were still getting airplay. Again, I maybe didn't realize that, and that gave me an advantage. I found this album was a lot like when I buy a Van Morrison album, or I buy a Delbert McClinton album, where I've never heard songs on it. And I get the chance to experience that whole album for myself without any preconceived ideas on where the hits are or what songs are popular. I get to discover the whole album right from start to finish and decide for myself what I like best about it. And that kind of adventure of looking at it without kind of already being guided towards certain songs or certain material, that's really a great experience. And I'd recommend it to anybody. And I found that a lot with, again, Van Morrison, because let's be honest, he hasn't had a hit in years. He's turning out albums every year, and basically I'm not aware of any of it getting airplay. But there's a lot of great music there. I know even his last album, I watched a live concert he had done of it, and all that stuff is still captivating and very well written, well performed. Just not getting the airplay to actually have what we would call hits. And that was the same with the Eagles. It was a great chance to experience what they were doing with a whole new headspace when you sat down to listen. And I recommend that. Take a chance. If you haven't heard the albums, that's great. Go in and check them out. Sure, it's fun to find these ones that have hits on them and you recognize the song and you sing along with them. But to me, that's what the greatest hits album comes in. I can do that and I have all the hits. Sometimes I want to find out what else the musicians are doing. I want to find out what else they're putting out that maybe the powers that be didn't decide to release for public consumption. So that's it for today. A couple of things to look at. Some early albums from my wife's collection, Hotel California and The Long Run. One I got in 2007. And again, 2007, that's like 14 years ago, man. It's hard to believe it's been that long since this came out. But again, another great Eagles album. Not so much pre-programmed, but well worth the time. And a double CD set, you can't go wrong. Again, Eagles are all over. You're going to find them on probably all the streaming networks. And as I always caution, check them out. Not every network or every streaming outlet pay the musicians the same. So let's make sure we support the musicians so we can keep that music coming. So that's it for today. Classic rock with the Eagles. We'll see you again on Friday. Until then, everybody take care. Thanks for stopping by. See you on Friday.